welcome to NasCanucks, your auto racing podcast with a Canadian spin. I'm Ben, he's Doug, and we are finally, after 2 years, talking about Fontana. Yay. Awesome. Happy. Apparently the track's still a flat 2-mile oval, and there was no talk of a reconfiguration during the entire broadcast.
I have info on that.
So we may get to that later. I want to welcome Terry's 3Gs and iRock Z Blues into the chat. Great to have both of you here. And we had Xfinity action, which I have rant on. And we have Cup action, which I have a couple of rants on. Well, technical rants on. Mm-hmm. So
we got practice and qualifying back this week again.
Yep.
My only complaint is I seen that the practice for the Xfinity guys was starting. I was like, oh, cool. I'll go out for a couple minutes, grab a Tim Hortons breakfast, come back, and I'll watch practice.
No.
Practice started where I left. When I walked in the door, practice was over. Short 20 minutes of a couple laps.
What's the point? 20 minutes. Oh, well, it fires. Yep. Yes, this is the other backdrop, iRock Z Blues. So, yes. Xfinity action and Xfinity doing a thing where they're impounding the cars after the race, making it a double header at 2 tracks. So instead of having practice qualifying, they're doing the exact opposite going in. Oh, amateur hour.
Well, so do you want to get into that now? We'll talk about the race. We'll talk about that. Okay, so if you're watching the Xfinity race, which probably you were, maybe not, I don't know. But 7 laps in, Landon Castle's car blows up, literally blows up.
Yep.
Fire everywhere. He gets out. Car is torched.
Yep.
Right. Okay. That car is now impounded until Thursday. They can't touch that car until the day before the race.
No. They should be at least to be able to crack a window open on the hauler so it might not smell so much. But stupid. Their idea behind impounding cars is to cut down costs because you're not paying guys to turn wrenches and tighten screws and stuff, and it's a joke. It's a joke. You should be able to massage those cars as much as you want.
Well, and at least have some little provision there where if your car torches...
Yeah, it should be the race ends at 8 p.m. on Saturday night. All right, you know what? You got till 10 o'clock tonight. That way you can clean the car off, and stuff, and get it prepped. If anything started leaking during the race, you can address those issues. I think the idea is they were hoping that they wouldn't have to put any of the cars through tech next week.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't say that because that's NASCAR trying to trim the old budget, because we don't want to pay techs.
Well, and I did send you a text on Saturday night there. That was one of my rants I had about that. It was like, okay, so we got cars that are on fire, cars that are absolutely destroyed in a wreck, and you now can't touch them until Thursday.
Yeah. Yep. Stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid. So, other than that, the race itself, it's California, which I dig, spread out. Both series, we saw basically a lot of the same thing, which was if you run up high, that's the way to run, the high line, and a lot of side drafting and frustrated. Poor Trevor Bayne, my God, he had a day of frustration. He was
he's no longer Trevor Bayne. I'm going to call him Juan Valdez because he now is in the coffee bean business. That's his gig in Knoxville. While he wasn't racing.
Okay.
He was in the coffee bean business.
Sure.
So why not? But yeah, so first race back in forever it seems. And
2 years.
I thought it was a good showing for him.
Yeah. His first race back since 2015, 2016, sorry. I didn't realize how young he was because they're like, yeah, he's like 27 years old. I'm like, what?
No, he was like what, like 18? Oh, no, 20. I
Yeah,
think he was
you're in
only
the series
20.
basically from like 18 to 23 type thing.
Well, yeah, because when he won the 500 with the Wood Brothers, he couldn't drink.
No, and he wasn't eligible to run the Bud Shootout even next year.
Yeah.
So, other than that, stage winners. Who the fuck cares? Stage racing. Ooh, you want to say you won a certain lap. But other than that, it was cool to see Cole Custer, who is, never been known as a dominant driver by any stretch of the means, and driving the 07, which has never been known outside of I'm going to say, Doug, a handful of good runs at restrictor plate type races where we're like, hey, the 07's up in the mix because they put, I don't know, a Mike Wallace in the car, we'll say, like a veteran driver, and he knows how to avoid wrecks and what have you. But Cole Custer and the sponsor of the race sponsored the car as well, apparently.
Yep.
I didn't really know.
My other thing was the red flag, the long red flag.
Oh, yeah.
And I said to you, it's like something happened during that red flag, which has probably never happened before.
Which is?
Well, when they red flagged the race, a perfectly good car gets wrecked while they're stopped.
I must have missed that part.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they showed it on the TV or not, but I was listening on the radio, and they were talking about it on the radio. They actually went back to they went to Josh Berry's in car. Apparently, one of the track vehicles didn't see him.
Oh,
and backed into the front corner of the car.
He was doing pretty good in that race. He was taking a few chances, but he was doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So, what's up, girls? In case I forgot to say hello. We got 5 people watching. Nice.
It was that, and then all the and then the sand. With that,
well, that's my rant for the next day's race. The sand. I thought you were going to talk about the amount of sheer volume of speedy dry that was still on the track. Which, you know what? I forgot what it was like to not have jet dryers at every track, Doug. Where I'm watching some restarts of races from the 80s and 90s. Hey, LRM. And where was I going with that? Yeah, like they would lay down the kitty litter and then they might look at it and hope the wind takes it away a bit. And they're like, and they drop the green. And you're like, are you insane?
The other thing was, and I heard it, I briefly listened to the Door Bumper Clear guys. And they were shocked at the number of people because when those plastic containers that were holding the sand, when they exploded, they went into a million little pieces. Well, I guess they didn't haul those pieces away.
Oh,
they just dumped them over the. They just dumped them over the wall. I'm guessing the inside pit wall, and just left them in a pile.
Oh.
And apparently they then became collector's items because the number of fans that came over to grab a piece of the plastic container.
And do you know why those barrels shattered into so many pieces?
I don't know, sitting in the hot sun.
Exactly. 20 years sitting in the hot sun that nobody gives a second look at them other than they might crack the lid every once in a while, just make sure they're not full of water and mud and turned into cement or something.
Mm-hmm.
But shades of Matt Kenseth happening there. So that happened. But Cole Custer won the race, which was cool. Good for him. A little shot of confidence for him. So, like you say, he's had flashes here and there, but he just hasn't been able to put a whole race together yet.
No.
He had the one on occasion.
Yeah, he had the one win last year in the Cup, but that was that not rain shortened? I believe. I forget.
I don't know,
but whatever.
Yeah. But it was forgettable, anyways.
One thing I do have to say post race.
Oh, you mean Noah Gragson with his? There's the camera. There's the reporter. I'm looking over here my entire fucking interview. Oh yeah. So go ahead, Doug.
Okay. Yeah. I don't.
I
didn't
think
think
he's
it was,
still looking for a friend.
I didn't think it was that bad.
His driving was but
I think
yeah.
I think there was just people walking around on that side, and he was looking at those people walking, see who was coming towards him.
Oh, kind of like squirrel, or
That's
is he gonna kick my ass? Nope. All
well.
right, how about him? Nope.
I just for me it wasn't that blank stare off in the distance.
Oh, it was.
For me, it wasn't. And
The guy cannot make eye contact.
okay, sure, but his
I don't trust the
talking,
guy who can't make eye contact with you when he's talking to you.
his talking was actually fine this time.
Yeah, he didn't curse. I was waiting.
No, and he wasn't a dick.
He wasn't
He
a
just
dick.
talked. He just talked about himself. He wasn't talking about anyone else doing this, that, or the other thing.
Because somebody talked to him in the off season, I'm sure of it. He's like, "Hey, how come I'm not getting any phone calls looking for a cup ride? Have you met yourself?"
He's got a cup ride. What the hell are you talking about?
Part-time thing.
Well, still.
Ooh.
Yeah. More than what Matt.
Man picked by Brendan Gaughan. Ooh, the anointed one.
He's got more rides than Matt DiBenedetto. Yeah, I went there.
That means nothing to me. That means nothing to me.
Nothing to me either. Whatever. I thought it would sound good.
Yeah.
No, I just don't think it was that bad this time. It was better than previous.
Oh, yeah, I guess. And then we had I like Ryan Blaney in the booth, and then we had I like to drive fast in the booth, and then what was it? One of the first cautions was brought out because somebody blocked, and Joey's like, I don't see anything wrong with that. I would have done the same thing. Yeah, of course you would have, you dum-dum. Like, he's like, oh, he just got unlucky. He tried to block and got pinched into the wall. Yep.
Where all I've heard is people talking about how bland Ryan Blaney is.
No, he's like his dad, and it's just, some would say stoic. If you win more races, Doug, they call you stoic. If you don't win the races, they call you boring, apparently.
Yeah. Well,
he's just a good old boy. So somehow that Ohio lineage, one generation North Carolina, he's full on North Carolina. You can tell.
Yeah.
Yep. And I noticed he was rocking the jeans up in the booth too. They did a bit of wider angle. I was like, yeah, shirt and tie, but jeans.
Yeah.
Nice. So that brings us to Sunday, where people were failing tech just like times of old. It's amazing, since you can't modify the car at all, Doug, how you still manage to fail tech. I think
3
somebody
times.
failed high school.
Hey, just shut up, okay? But anyway.
Why, was your drivers one of the guys that couldn't make it through tech?
No. L&M Guitars, we have the same question.
Yeah. Ask Jeff Gordon. We've tried, but we could never get within 50 feet of Jeff Gordon. He's a well-protected individual. Because he's warned, Doug, but there's a lot of Canadians in the infield. Oh, we've finally got a bot. Nice.
Yeah, I don't drink red.
Oh, no. Take your scams elsewhere. Oh, we'll take
Terry, you there?
Terry's apparently gone or something. I don't know.
Terry's asleep.
Terry's asleep at the wheel.
Terry's asleep.
I took care of it. There we go. So yeah, Sunday.
It's like there was a bunch of people. They want to have like a convention at the back of people going to the back.
I never thought I would say this statement, but considering what he went through on Sunday, Kyle Busch has the patience of a god that day. Because he should have been screaming and yelling. The Kyle Busch of old.
He was.
Yeah, but not like used to be. Like he just had right from the start with his pass through, just led to somehow spinning out and getting 20 pounds of sand in his car.
This guy had the pass through at the start.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
You said Kyle.
Oh, well, whatever.
That's why I said, yeah, he kind of was.
Yeah. Hey, Keith H. So, Kyle Busch spins out, somehow packs like 20 pounds of sand into the car.
Kurt.
Did Kyle not have overheating issues due to a bunch of sand?
Okay, make up your Busch mind.
What part of the sentence? He spun out and somehow got 20 pounds of sand in the car.
You were just talking about Kurt Busch, got him mixed up with Kyle, and then you start talking about Kyle.
We're going through the race. After the pass-through happened, couple laps, and then...
But he wasn't the guy doing the pass-through. Kurt did the pass-through at the start.
I know. And then I'm fast-forward. And then...
Whatever.
Yeah, sure, Terry. You were asleep. We know you were. Anywho's, Terry would not cut it in the NHRA. His reaction time is not there.
Speaking of that, did you see that Tony was like the I don't know if you're gonna call him the team bitch or whatever, but he was like filling up gas cans and stuff, and
yeah. Well, yeah. And speaking of which, first time I haven't fast forward through the national anthem in a decade. So, we had Nita Strauss doing the national anthem. That was cool. Her tone was not the best, and this is twice I've seen her perform live outside, and her guitar went out of tune both times. So she tried. She muscled through it. So, anywho's. So Kyle Busch, which comes to my first rant, Doug. We have this new closed air system where air goes in through the nose. We don't put tape on it anymore. You have the choice to put a block off panel thing, insert. I don't know. I think it's the same as up here in the wintertime, the guys that duct tape the cardboard to the grill of the truck to try to get some heat into it. But closed system, some air goes into the motor, some goes to the brake system, some goes through the rad, and then it's vented through the louvers and the hood, which I didn't know until I saw them opening a hood. Apparently they got hood pins in the middle of the freaking hoods now.
Mm-hmm.
Dumb. Anyways, I'm going to say, Doug, if we're going to have this closed system, maybe incorporate an access panel that you can remove, for cleaning work. Or if you have a leaf blower handy, maybe you could pull, open up a little panel. Yeah, because I saw it. The M&M sponsored painted up leaf blower. Somebody's got too much time on their hands. Oh, that we need to paint that yellow and throw some M&M decals on it. No, we don't. It's just a leaf blower. You're pulling it out once in a blue moon.
I just assumed it was a DeWalt.
It might be. Who knows? And so, so they realized real quick that's one major issue. Just wait till we get to Michigan, Doug, with the amount of debris at that track. Yeah. Because those grill openings are pretty big, and those hot dog wrappers are going to disintegrate, and they just start just making mouse nests inside the ductwork, and then so that's a major tech flaw. And then throughout the day, we saw, which didn't happen at Daytona for some reason, but a glaring design flaw with these cars that if you happen to spin out and pop all four of your tires, well, now you're a beached whale because your car bottoms out.
And you talked about that last week?
If both rear tires, I didn't realize that if all four, you're completely fucked and out of business.
Yeah. Which NASCAR has said.
Or I'm like, they're hung up on the banking of Daytona, because that can happen. You can high side a car. We've seen it. But I'm thinking Austin Dillon at Texas, where he somehow got the nose and the rear wedge just right, so all four wheels were off the ground.
Yeah. Apparently, from what I've heard, NASCAR is looking into that. But you heard a lot of drivers talking about that if you did spin, don't stop the car. Keep the car moving to prevent that.
Yes. Yeah, well, easier said than done. Because the whole point you're spinning is because you're out of control. You are out of the control thing. So, and it cost a few cars. Like, the 20 car, he ended up not coming back. The 24 didn't come back. It didn't look overly damaged. And it was just
We'll get into the 24 in a minute here. I got
days ruined over like spinning out and not hitting anything. Like I kept thinking, Bell in the 20 spins out and doesn't hit anything, and his day's done.
Well, there's that other rear valance on the underneath on the back.
Yeah,
that they're saying that they're looking into. They got the new way of hooking up the car, but now they're looking into another new way, so that's not getting damaged. So guys' days aren't getting done.
well, yeah, because the new way of towing the cars, they hook onto the two front wheels with a cradle and do that. Well, we're just going to drag her for a mile on that rear ductwork stuff.
Yep.
Or, I don't know. It was funny because I made a point of watching the Ask Dale Jr. Portion of his show about an hour before we went live. And he's like, oh, the racing was great. I'm like, racing was the same as usual, Dale. I don't know what race you were watching, first of all. And he's like, we don't want to mess with these cars too much because they're putting on such amazing racing. Again, no, actually, Daytona was worse than the last couple of years, in many opinions.
There was, well, I will say this, for you saying that it was worse in many opinions, was that the opinion of the people that you heard that want the wrecks? Because there was less wrecks.
No, it was more people that do like pack racing in general because it was very hard to keep the draft. The draft wasn't what it was. There's a variety of reasons. It was kind of a boring race. It wasn't a lot of passing, really.
No.
Anywho's. So that's a glare. There's a simple fix for it, Doug. Minimum ride height.
I've heard that somewhere before.
Yeah, it's really easy to do. All right, here's the deal. Let's say the distance between the insides of the tires is 4 feet across. All right, You got to have 2 inches of clearance under there. Very easy. You make a box 2 inches high that fits between the wheels. You push the car through. Oh, I guess you didn't clear, and we just ripped off all your cheating parts. So, jack it up, boys. Which Dale was saying the whole thing because of that whole rear diffuser thing. He's like, yeah, did you notice everybody had their noses stuck up in the air? No, Dale. I saw a lot of people going over a bumpy track. So I don't know how they were pretty sealed off still, but they're saying, no, they jack up the nose to get more air underneath to get diffused and that. Minimum ride height. That's it. That problem solved. As you raise up the car, it doesn't bottom out. Something else they were looking at possibly is they haven't asked the crew chief. This is Dale Jr. talking, and I like the idea for a moment was stiffer sidewalls because you can't really put it in. He's like, well, maybe they can do an inner liner. No, you can't. It's a low profile tire. There's not enough room for an inner liner. That's why they don't have one. Stiffer sidewalls. We see that in IndyCar. Guy blows out a rear tire, but you still got those sidewalls holding that corner of the car up somewhat. Maybe that's an option. Except tire pressure adjustments doesn't make as much of a difference when you have a stiff sidewall, because that's the whole point is you're using the sidewall as a spring. So that's my rant, my 2 tech rants. I'll allow access panels to the air duct system. It's not hard. All passenger vehicles have it. 2 little wing screws. Oh, there's the air filter, in your passenger vehicle. Same idea. And jack the cars up. How much does that cost to do? Nothing. They have adjustable ride height. So, there you go. I don't have adjustable ride height. Well, put stiffer springs in it. It'll hold it up more. Problem solved.
I know with the tire issue, I heard someone call in today on the NasCar radio saying that they should go to like a 15 or 16 inch rim. That way, giving them a little bit of stuff because they said it's because
that would give them more sidewall. Yeah.
But,
well, the only problem with that 15, 16 inch rim won't fit over those brakes. So, well, let's make it 17. Well, we're already at 18. So, really? So, that's that. And we saw another issue during a pit stop with the 24. So, for those who don't know, with a single lug system, you run standard thread on the passenger side, reverse thread on the driver's side, because the lugs always have to be for physics, they got to go forward. I don't know why I'm saying this, but we'll just say that's forward. So in a pit stop, you got your lug gun going one way. You're going, boom. All right, you're going to smack the button to reverse it. Put the lug nut back on. Now, in years past, Doug, you'd flip that switch again to reset it when you go around to the other side of the car. You don't hit that button this year. You want to leave it the opposite way. If not, what do? It looks like you're taking an angle grinder to the lug nut, as witnessed with the 24 when he hit it and it just sparks everywhere. And then Chad Knos is like, oh, that is messed up. With his old man glasses, he noticed he was looking at it and he couldn't see what he was doing, so he had to pull up the specs and all there, and he's got his fleece vest on because, management and all. And I'm like, what are you gonna do? Oh, these are professionals. No, well, are they? Are they? Okay.
Well, even seeing Blaney's pit crew have an issue on one where because I guess they're using the same lug.
Yeah.
Or sorry, the same nut there. So I guess they came off, popped out of the gun.
The magnet wasn't so magnetized.
And you can actually see it roll away this time. And so they have the other one that's on the belt, and so
Yeah, and then you had to think, which way does it? Is it reversed? No, all right, on. Yeah, but I will say better than last week as far as wheel issues. That's for sure. We didn't really have, other than a couple issues there, which
we have one.
That lug not hanging on the gun. That can happen. It's magnetic. It's not a physical grip. Yeah. So, and same as the reverse issue. That's, there's a reason actually, and rumor has it, a lot of pit crews are no longer allowed to pit crew in the lower series on Fridays and Saturdays. If you're a Cup pit crew, you can only service Cup cars for that reason, because you're getting into single lug only. Which tells me again, they're not rocket surgeons that they're jumping over pit wall there, Doug. I can do 1. I can do 5. All right, sure.
So then back with the race, trying to think of what else happened. It really wasn't a lot that did happen. A couple spins.
Yeah, a few spins, a few scrapes along the wall.
So there's the one where Reddick, Reddick was having a fantastic day, even though he had issues of himself.
He did.
And he admitted it on the broadcast that maybe he got too big in the summer, over the winter.
First of all, I didn't know when Clint's like, well, they got the crotch strap. I'm like, yeah, and then they got the leg straps. I'm like, what? What leg straps? Who has leg straps?
Yeah,
and
that aren't adjustable.
Yeah, well, that I kind of understand, but it's weird because and the non-adjustable belts, that is scary. I don't like that because, first of all, that eliminates Larry Mack going, pull those straps tight one more time. I can't, Larry. They're not adjustable.
No.
They are what they are. The only way they get tighter is if I eat a bigger lunch. That's the only way.
And apparently that's what.
Yeah, but apparently they have leg restraints that I think are just. It sounds like something the gynecologist would use or something. I don't know. They're just. But the idea is, so if you get in an accident, you're not smacking kneecaps against each other, and so your legs aren't doing this all inside a little box and getting the crap beat out of your legs. So that was the idea. But Doug, you shouldn't need those. Cars aren't supposed to get upside down and flip anymore. So what do you need leg straps for? So yeah.
So he was having his issues. Then he did have a tire go down.
He did.
And
during Crank It Up, because Matt Kenseth interrupted Crank It Up and go, hey! Because I noticed it too. I'm like, there's a lot of debris coming out from under that car.
Oh, yeah.
And then we had a nice surprise in the booth during the race with Mark Martin showing up. That was really cool.
And how about him with the goatee? Mustache and goatee.
Yeah,
I've
seen that. Yeah. He's been rocking that for a little while. But he's there to hang it with Ice Cube, apparently.
Yeah. So Reddick, tire goes down. He kind of scrubs the wall a bit. Yep. And as he's slowing down, coming out of the turn, out of nowhere, with nobody else around, William Byron just tags him out of nowhere.
Which did you notice? It cut a hole in the driver's door. They had to put a big piece of mutt on the side, bare bond or something.
Which Byron didn't look like he had any hardly any damage at all, but it ended his day.
Yeah, well, part of it too was he with the flats and stuff. Yeah, he got shipwrecked out on the backstretch or something. I don't know.
But then that took out Reddick as well too, because he then with the independent rears on there, the tie was out on the right rear tire.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Another interesting factoid, Kevin Harvick backed it into the wall, and they said, we can fix that rather than going to the backup. What do you mean, the backup? For like Kevin only had one backup? No. Stewart-Haas Racing brought one backup.
And if you've seen it coming out of the hauler, it's a blank car.
Yeah, makes sense.
So
yeah. LRM asks, where's Doug from?
Right here.
The Tri-Cities area of Ontario.
Sure. So there's that, and then it comes to the
highlight of the race, in the Hendrick opinion.
Incident?
You mean, the guy who really, he led a bit, but he was not the dominant car in the race by any stretch of the mean.
Not at all.
All of a sudden, going for the lead, going to pass 2 for 1, and he tried to go up high, and surprisingly, when you're off someone's right rear quarter, which is, I don't know, in every car known to man, the biggest blind spot on every car on the road, apparently that camera isn't that wide an angle, but he says, I didn't see him. And so Larson went, what?
And I think Boyer I'm not sure if it was Boyer or Kansas mentioned it, was that like Logano was going to side draft him.
Yep.
And that's right where Larson was diamonding the corners each time. Yes. So he was already going up. So that was his thing, to go up at that point. So he was just doing what he'd been doing the whole race.
Yep.
And then that puts the Golden Boy in the wall, which then sent Twitter and NASCAR social media.
I couldn't remember his nickname. I was just thinking he was Chickadick. I'm like, Chickadick?
Yeah, fucking idiot. So then he gets on the radio, and Kyle Larson is
which was funny because what was it? Mike Joyce, we got radio of Chase Elliott, and Clint immediately is like, we don't want to hear it. And they didn't play it. They went, okay, I guess we're not going to play it.
Fox Radioactive played it.
Right.
It's just a bunch of beeps.
Yeah.
Because apparently that's the way Kyle Larson always races him, because that's the way everybody always races him.
As opposed to, it always comes to mind is the first Roval when Chase blatantly takes out one of his best friends.
Yeah. But then, as we talked about off air, I had a flashback to last year when Larson went to lap Chase.
Yeah.
Chase's car made a little bit of a move to the left as Larson passed him.
It made a lot of bit of a move to the left. It went 3 lanes.
Yeah. And so did he just lose control?
Well, he was trying to give the high line to Kyle. I think he was just trying to give him the high line and didn't think that Kyle would be on the apron, because he forced him onto the apron.
Then the other thing was it going to 1 and 2? I believe it was. Apparently, from what I looked and seen, I think he got an itchy arm as well too, after he went a lap down. Yeah. Because there was nobody around him when he spun. All 4 tires looked like they were still up. Right?
Oh yeah, that was my first thought. While
Larson
actually he had a great reaction shot. They went to the grandstands where there was a family of Larson fans going, "What the?" And I'm like, "Watch it, your kid's sitting right there." And Dad remembered, "Well, what the?" Oh, you're right.
Because Larson was stretching out that lead, like he wasn't going to get caught.
Like 0.2 of a second in the lap, it was crazy.
Yeah. And so it's it was very intentional, and then I think it was then later on they did do audio of Elliot saying, "Oh, I think maybe I should wait and look at the video before I really make a comment." No, idiot, you already made a comment on your
Yeah.
radio.
And you made a comment by bringing out a caution to try to screw over your teammate.
Yeah.
Which I thought, yeah. And I'll be honest, on that restart when Suarez got out front, you know what? I thought to myself, okay, well, if Suarez wins, Larson isn't totally screwed because Suarez was up there all day.
Yeah.
I am really becoming a Suarez fan.
How about
he's been driving that? He's been driving over his head for that team, and that team is really they've really come along in 2 years.
well, and how about the top four? Well, even you can even say top five. We know two of those top five are going to be there. Larson, Logano,
Yes.
right? But then second through fourth, Dylan, Suarez, Jones. Like those are three guys who
Again,
where have you been?
And Clint mentioned that during the race. Eric Jones has been fast all year with the new alliance. I don't even want to bring it up because every year, there's a new alliance. Petty's been aligned with somebody forever, and it's Petty GMS with help from Childress. So, but even then, that's only 4 cars, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if there's another satellite team for Childress at this point or not. But, and it's not like Childress is some powerhouse. Like they show flashes here and there, definitely. I'm curious to see what happens next week because RCR was coming on last year with the 1.5 mile program, both Reddick and Dylan.
Yeah.
It was one or the other, usually like in places like Texas and stuff. And so I'm curious to see on that. But
so I know on
yeah. So as I predicted last week, Kyle Larson won the race.
Yeah, but just going back to the incident, what we'll call it, is like I said, social media went nuts. Jeff Gluck put up a poll with was it a good race, yes or no, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think he had about like 8 or 9% said no, and looking at the no's were all anti Kyle Larson messages, right? And even Dawsonville Pool Room got into it that. Apparently, Kyle Larson has to wreck a teammate to win a race. How many times did he wreck Chase last year in all of his wins?
Yep. How many times did Larson wreck Kurt Busch to win for Ganassi?
Yeah. And Daniel Trotta kind of said it really funny. I think yesterday or today, I forget which one it was when she was talking about it. Must have been yesterday because she was with Corey LaJoy, and LaJoy kind of stayed a bit quiet on it. It seemed like if you watch Chase Elliott over the winter, right, and even late last year and then over the winter, he tried to become a Kyle Larson clone because he was racing in everything he could get a seat in, right, and it still ain't working. Right?
Would that be because he's not as talented? Because I personally, I think Kyle Larson is the most talented.
By far.
Driver. With Kyle Busch second, or 1A, 1B, because I'd like to see Kyle run more different stuff but I have a feeling like if Kyle had Busch, that is, had whole, I don't know, let's say 10 years ago, hooked up with Schrader and Wallace and those guys. Hey, I'm going to go dirt track racing.
Mm-hmm.
Where that would have progressed, or maybe that brief, because I think there was that brief time where Stewart and Busch were teammates at Gibbs or something, maybe, maybe something could have happened there.
But the other thing is that I think we kind of seen on Saturday night why Kyle Busch isn't running the Xfinity Series this year is because with the 18 hauler, there's also a second hauler that is traveling around with them,
Mm-hmm.
carrying a couple micro sprints, which himself and Brexton run. So I think that's what he's now doing on the Saturdays instead of
Yeah.
concentrating on the Xfinity Series. Which
Well,
is
not only that, but okay, let's I'm curious. Yeah, let's say what's the 18 car in the Xfinity? Like, is Bain running both races because they can't switch seats or anything until Thursday? Stuff like that. Those guys, like who's driving the 07 again next week?
yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
I wanted to point out, did you notice only 36 cars bothered to show up for the Cup race?
Yes, and I'll get into that in a bit, but with some of the news and notes coming out of
Yeah. Well, we
Encore.
might as well get to that. We're
Yeah.
40 minutes in. We've discussed both races. What are the news and notes?
So, news is Auto Club Speedway. The reconfiguration into a short track is timeout. Put on hold for now. It is put on hold for now.
Well, I was immediately thinking, man, when they were doing the parade laps, they ain't doing no 5-wide salute on a half-mile track. I'll tell you that much.
No. That's put on hold. Todd Gillen's crew chief. I guess they had a wheel issue, and he is now suspended for the 4
He was
races.
even in the race. Actually, they really didn't talk about a whole lot of people during Sunday's race. The first time I heard Harrison Burton's name was when he was in the wreck.
Yeah. And we will have 36 cars in the field. So 36 for 40 spots.
Yeah.
So Garrett Smithy in the 15, Daniel Hemrick in the 16, Biffle back again in the 44, and Josh Bilicki in the 77. So I'm seeing here that a little contradiction.
Somebody that raced yesterday or Sunday is not racing this coming Sunday.
Well, I'm looking at the JSK site, and they're talking about how on the list there's 34. Sorry, there's 36 teams and drivers listed, but there's 37 cars that are entered.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, that would be that 37th car would be whatever car raced this past week.
Yeah.
Because Biffle didn't run this past week, so.
Yeah. So.
Why do I have a feeling somebody's using up all the internet in the house at the moment? Because I have one bar. Great.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Same here. But the other thing is Xfinity.
Yes.
We have 42 cars entered for Vegas. So there will be cars going home for Vegas.
So if they do qualifying, only 36 or 38. I think they do 38. And if they don't do qualifying, they do 40.
38, yeah, because there's four drivers. Four drivers will go fail to qualify
so they
come
will
Friday
be
afternoon. So the notables are Joe Graff Jr. in the 07, so he will be changing seats in the 07. Yeah. David Starr in the 08.
He usually drives the 07 as Graff. I think he's usually in the 07.
So David Starr in the 08, John Hunter Nemechek in the 26,
right?
CJ McLaughlin in the 28, Will Rogers in the 33, Kyle Sieg in the 38, 44 will be Ryan Ellis, Kaz Grella in the 45, and Brendan Poole in the 47.
That's great.
So those are the notable extra guys in that there.
I don't know how notable that is.
Well,
they're there. I don't know if it's notable.
And the other thing is there is now a second Truex at Joe Gibbs Racing. As Ryan Truex signs a 4-race deal to go back to race Xfinity at Joe Gibbs. He had a great run while he was there a few years ago. So
that's good. I think he's had a few stints with them over the years, whether it be even just a one-off and here and there. And
so his first race is this weekend at Vegas. Then he will race, and he's in the 18 at
so
Vegas here.
Yeah.
Then he'll race Martinsville, Darlington, and Texas.
Gotcha.
So that's
sleeping in Martin's bus while he does it.
Probably.
He can't afford his own bus.
No.
No.
Yeah, that and gaining traction, and I'm hearing a lot of noise about Chicago street race again.
They did an iRace sim. I don't think anything's going to come out of it.
No, there is a lot of talk.
It's going to happen.
Well, I'm just there's
you say it. Talk. You say there's talk, and I'm going to say it's not going to happen.
Okay, well,
you already got 2 speedways sitting outside of Chicago not being used.
Yes.
So
the Speedway Motorsports has been talking Chicago street race. So if Bruton Smith is talking about it, it's got to be thought about.
True. Then again, I was like, traffic is so bad in Chicago, like to shut down. But in fairness, if they incorporate the loop in Chicago, and for those who don't know what the Chicago loop is, look it up. I'm not going to explain it. Very wide boulevards in that part of the city. So you do get, it'd be almost like if you did a Manhattan street, like Broadway is like freaking 6 lanes. So you don't have those pinch points of those 90-degree corners around curbs and stuff. So that's the idea. Is if you can do wide enough arcs to get a stock car to make it around the corners, because according to the iRace, Dale Jr. said it was not good.
No.
So, and of course, and then he said, "Why we don't need a street race? We need short tracks." And they went on a whole rant about getting short tracks and why we aren't at the Nashville Fairgrounds. So, excuse me. But I can get it from marketing. It is what? 4th largest TV market? No, 3rd.
And as Chocolate Myers have said, they have never really raced at Chicago.
I'm going to have to disagree. They raced in Soldier Field.
Okay, yes. But Chicagoland, not in Chicago.
No. Sparta, I think Illinois was the other one. Yeah, that one was what Ganassi's track, whatever that one was.
Yeah, they said Chicago, but they weren't Chicago. So, but yes, Soldier Field was yes.
Well, see, I'm also going to voice my vote for Chicagoland because a good friend's ex's family has a whole bunch of season tickets there for events still. So we have seats if we want to go, is what I'm saying.
I don't think.
Yeah, because they bought those just to be cool. They barely ever use them. But yeah. Kind of people listen to yacht rock, those types. Yeah. Wear shoes with no socks, those types. Like the deck shoes with the no socks.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I'm not talking your stinky, smelly running shoes, Doug.
Nothing wrong with those.
Nobody needs those.
Not that they are watching this, but a big FU to my 3 friends who have never watched NASCAR in their life, but are going to Vegas this weekend with free tickets. Like you. Yes.
There we go. All right. Well, do we have anything else?
Nothing else. Just probably some stuff to be announced with the show. Maybe we'll be doing some extra shows coming up in the near future. More on that later on.
Not been discussed with me at all. We'll see. He assumes I'll be around. I love it. On that note,
yes, he. I pointed the right way this time. He will be around. Trust me.
Okay. Pick for Sunday.
Pick for Sunday, Vegas. I don't know. Now that he's got the win, how do you go against Larson?
Well, I thought about that, but I was actually leaning towards the 9 car this weekend, unfortunately. I think he's going to have a good race, or the 22. haven't figured it out yet. So I'm going to go with the 9. I hate it, but hey, I don't like Hendrick anyway, so I don't know.
Maybe they had double stuffed Oreos with their milk this time.
Maybe Chase's legs will swell. His head is. On that note, he's Doug. I'm Ben. This has been NasCanucks, your auto racing podcast with a Canadian spin. So we'll see you next week. Daytime show, I believe.
Yes.
There we are. So daytime show next week. And
The second last one.
Subscribed, ring that bell and stuff so you know when we go live. Yeah.
See you, Marcus.